It's 7:12 a.m. on a Thursday. I'm in a hardware store holding a $9 bottle of drain cleaner, trying to remember if my sink pipe is PVC.
Then, my phone buzzes. It's an email from my accountant. Subject line, Q3 portfolio summary. Super boring, right?
I scroll to the bottom. My verified net worth just crossed $650 million.
No confetti, no champagne, just me, the smell of fertilizer, and a guy complaining about copper fittings.
That guy thinks I'm just a tired middle manager. But here's the crazy part. I engineered it to be exactly this way. Society completely misunderstands wealth. You think it's matte black supercars and massive mansions, right? But the real heavy hitters? The ghost economy? We don't buy the supercar. We buy the concrete parking garage it parks in. See? The loudest people in the room miss the point entirely. Visibility is a massive liability.
Take networking events. There's always that guy in a $300 white tee pitching his vision to anyone listening.
He asks what I do. I tell him I own some small stuff, laundromats. You can literally watch him calculate my worth.
He categorizes me as mid-level, smiles politely, and turns his back. And in that exact second, I win. Because the moment people underestimate you, they stop watching you. And then, you can do whatever you want.
So, how do you actually build a ghost empire? It doesn't start with tech or venture capital. 11 years ago, I was exhausted after a shift. Walked up to this vending machine, and the thing was totally jammed.
Most people would just kick it and walk away. But I stopped. I stared at the metal box and wondered, who owns this?
I went home and spent 40 minutes researching. That's 40 minutes longer than anyone else would bother.
I found the local guy running them. After product costs and location fees, he was clearing about $80 a month per machine.
The machine doesn't care if you're tired. It just sits in a hallway solving a tiny problem, collecting capital every single hour. I spent $900 on that used machine. First month, it netted $190. The architecture worked. I didn't care about the money. I cared about the proof. So, I bought a second machine, then a third. That's when I started watching commercial laundromats. Not as a customer, but as an architect. A small coin-op spot can pull in 200 grand a year. It's not flashy, but it's always busy. People have to wash their clothes. Recessions, market crashes, it doesn't matter. The load keeps spinning. I bought my first one for 47 grand. It was in Ohio. The previous owner, Dale, kept his books on a flip phone. That first year, it cleared $38,000. I didn't spend a dime. I put it all into the next one. People don't see the scaling. They don't see the compounding. They just see a guy at a kitchen table doing math.
Enter Karen, my accountant. 19 years in the business. She's seen every sloppy LLC you can imagine.
She reads the summary, looks at me, and goes, "This is the most deliberately uninteresting portfolio I've ever seen."
This is the most deliberately uninteresting portfolio I've ever seen.
I didn't want a brand. I didn't want a mission statement. I just wanted assets that pay me while I'm doing nothing. 4 laundromats, 2 municipal parking lots, billboards in Tennessee, a cleaning company. Boring, right? People will always need to wash their clothes. They will always need to park their cars. That need doesn't negotiate.
The flashy guys? They're busy chasing multiples and LinkedIn clout. One bad quarter and they're out. I'm in the Tuesday morning markets, the ones nobody is watching, where the business stays open for decades. I drive my Pilot home. It's got a crack in the bumper, 91,000 miles. I don't fix it. Then there's the guy with the $300 t-shirt. He performs wealth. I keep it as armor. The Pilot is just a tool. It starts, it runs, and nobody notices it. That's exactly how I like it.
Every dollar I don't spend on a car payment is a dollar that compounds. It's not complicated. It's just unpopular.
My house? Paid off. Mortgage? Gone. Neighbors think I'm just okay. I don't correct them.
The armor works. The ordinary life protects you. The portfolio runs quiet, and the account just grows.
Nobody watches. Nobody asks. But nobody sees it either. And some nights, that's a totally different kind of cost.
Which brings us back to Thursday, 7:12 a.m. The plumbing aisle of this hardware store.
I don't even need to be here. I have people for this now. But my property manager texted me about a slow drain. So I'm holding a bottle of drain cleaner, trying to remember if the pipe under that sink is PVC or galvanized.
That's when the notification hits. Q3 portfolio summary from Karen. Same boring 12-point font she's used for 19 years.
I usually read these at the kitchen table on a Sunday morning with a cup of coffee. I almost put the phone back in my pocket. But something in the preview number completely stops me. I put the drain cleaner down on the shelf. I open the email. I read the summary line twice, really slowly. My total verified net worth, including everything I own, has crossed $650 million.
I'm just standing there under these buzzing fluorescent lights. There's a forklift beeping somewhere in the back.
There's a guy in a gray hoodie 2 feet away checking copper fittings. Nobody is looking at me. Nobody knows. The number exists on my screen while I'm trying to remember what kind of pipe is under a laundromat sink in Ohio. This is the moment. No dinner reservation, no champagne, no phone call telling me I finally made it. Just a number accumulating quietly through 11 years of Tuesday decisions and Saturdays at kitchen tables. I thought it would feel different. I thought there would be a physical shift. The world rearranging itself to acknowledge me. You imagine a milestone like this has some kind of ceremony. A solid seam between the before and the after. But there is no seam. Just the plumbing aisle and the quiet, steady hum of a life that hasn't changed at all. I type 3 words back to Karen. Thanks. Looks right. I grab the drain cleaner and snap a photo for my manager.
I walk to the front and pay $8.47. No rewards card, because I can never remember if I have one.
I walk out to the parking lot. The sun is just starting to burn off the morning fog. Another normal Thursday.
I get in the Pilot. It fires up with that familiar, slightly worn-out rattle. A $650 million commute. 20 minutes later, I pull up to a brick duplex on the west side. One of my very first residential properties. A tenant is leaving for work. "Morning, man." He waves and says, "Morning, man." He thinks I'm just the maintenance guy, and he's right, because today I am the maintenance guy. That's the beauty of playing a role. I go to the kitchen. The sink is full of standing, cloudy water. Not glamorous, but it's reality. I unscrew the $9 drain cleaner, I pour half the bottle in, and then I just wait. That's honestly the biggest secret about this whole thing. Most of building an empire is just, waiting for the chemistry to work. Suddenly, there's a gurgle. The water swirls, and it drains perfectly. Problem solved. I could have paid a plumber $300 to do that, but doing it myself keeps me anchored. It reminds me what built this. Money isn't supposed to change who you are. It's just a tool to amplify your choices. My choice is to stay invisible. To let the portfolio speak loudly while I stay completely silent. If you want to win a game nobody else is playing, you have to stop caring if the crowd cheers for you. Because at the end of the day, status is a tax you pay to people who don't actually care about you. I pull into my driveway. The cracked bumper is still there. The lawn needs to be mowed this weekend. I step out. I check my phone one last time. The number is still there. 650 million. Not because I have it, but because nobody else knows I do. That's the empire. That's the ghost economy. And it's open to anyone willing to stay quiet. See you at the hardware store. You thought the story was over when the door closed. But the ghost economy doesn't sleep. It just shifts gears. It's Friday morning, 6 a.m. I'm sitting at my kitchen table with a generic cup of black coffee. I'm not looking at stock charts. I'm looking at a satellite map of a town in Texas I've never even been to. Why? Because there's a self-storage facility sitting right off the highway. 300 units of corrugated metal and concrete. Most people look at storage units and see junk. I look at them and see raw human psychology.
People buy too much stuff, refuse to throw it away because of sentimentality, and gladly pay $90 a month to ignore it.
It's the most emotional real estate on the planet, heavily disguised as the most boring.
This specific facility is owned by a guy named Gary. Gary has had it for 22 years. Gary is tired. I know he's tired because the roof on Building C has been leaking since last year, and he hasn't even tried to fix it. I don't call Gary. I call a local commercial roofer. I pay him $200 just to drive by and look at it.
You're standing right here in the plumbing aisle, holding a $6 fitting, while the guy cutting your hair thinks you're just some broke insurance adjuster.
Here is a fundamental rule. Information is the real currency. Capital just executes the trade. The roofer texts me. It's a $10,000 patch job. Gary has it listed like it's a $100,000 disaster.
That discrepancy? That fear of the unknown? That's exactly where the margin lives.
I draft an offer through one of my shell LLCs. All cash, no financing contingencies. 30-day close. It's low, almost insultingly low, but it's a clean exit. Gary doesn't have to talk to a bank or negotiate repair.
He accepts it in 4 hours. He didn't want a negotiation. He just wanted his weekends back.
I install a digital kiosk. I completely automate the billing software. I spend the 15 grand on the roof and fresh paint. Within 6 months, the facility's occupancy goes from a struggling 60% to a solid 94%. Cash flow increases by $4,000 a month. And the craziest part? I still haven't physically been to Texas.
Storage units are great, but if you want to get truly invisible, you have to invest in dirt and steel.
I bought a small parcel of land in Tennessee 7 years ago. Nothing on it. Just weeds and highway noise.
People ask me if I was going to develop it. Build a strip mall? A gas station? Nope. Development takes zoning meetings, architects, and millions in capital. I prefer things that have zero plumbing.
I leased a tiny patch of that dirt to a major outdoor advertising company. They built a massive double-sided billboard.
They covered the construction cost. They maintained the lights. They find the advertisers.
I just get a ground lease check every month. Thousands of dollars, just because I own the specific 50 square feet of earth holding up that pole. You replicate that logic. Municipal parking lots, cell tower ground leases. It's the infrastructure of the ordinary. You replicate that logic. Municipal parking lots, cell tower ground leases. It's the infrastructure of the ordinary. But building the empire is only phase 1. Phase 2 is defending your psychology against it.
When you have enough money to buy anything, everything suddenly loses its magic. You think a Ferrari would make you happy? It does. For exactly 3 weeks. Then it just becomes a hunk of metal you have to worry about scratching in the Whole Foods parking lot.
That's the paradox of wealth. The more you buy to show people you're free, the more trapped you actually become. If you want real freedom, you have to actively reject the upgrade. You keep the old phone until it literally stops holding a charge. You fly commercial. You wear the plain blue shirt.
People will think you're stagnant. They'll pity you because you haven't leveled up in a decade. Oh, that's just too bad.
Let them pity you. Pity is the greatest camouflage in the world.
While they are stressed about the interest rate on their boat loan, you are quietly buying the marina.
That is the absolute core of the ghost economy. You don't buy things. You buy the systems that hold the things. Once you own the systems, you realize that money was never actually the goal. Money is just the crude oil.
Actual product that the ghost economy produces is time. Absolute, unadulterated time. Look at hustle culture. It tells you to wake up at 4 a.m., take ice baths, and grind until you collapse. That's not freedom. That's just a glorified, self-inflicted prison sentence with better marketing. Real power is waking up on a Tuesday and deciding to spend 6 hours learning how to bake bread.
Because bread is delicious. And because literally no one is waiting on an email from me.
Of course, it's not always baking bread. Sometimes, the systems break.
Pipes burst. Tenants move out. Competitors try to undercut you.
But when your ego isn't tied to the business, problems are just math equations, not personal attacks. You fix the equation, update the system, and go back to your day. I have a rule. If a business requires my face to run, I sell it. Personal branding is a trap. It means if you get sick, the money stops. If you get canceled, the money stops. But a parking lot? A parking lot doesn't care if I tweet a bad joke. It just keeps parking cars.
That's the beautiful, unsinkable nature of boring utility.
People often ask me, if you have all this, why do you still look like you cut your own hair? And I tell them, looking rich is a full-time job. And I'm already retired.
You have to maintain the watch, clean the pool, detail the cars, and constantly worry about who is looking at you.
Like strategy, like family, like figuring out the exact perfect temperature to brew a pour-over coffee. We are living in an era where everyone is screaming for attention on the internet.
Trading their privacy for a dopamine hit and a brand sponsorship.
Silence. Silence is the ultimate luxury. You don't need validation from strangers when your balance sheet validates itself every morning at 3 a.m. So, if you want to build this, you have to start reprogramming how you view the world. Stop looking at shiny things. Start looking at ugly, necessary things. Start asking yourself, who owns the dirt under this cell tower? Who collects the quarters from this car wash?
Behind every mundane inconvenience in your life, there is an invisible guy quietly getting rich.
And there is absolutely no reason that guy can't be you. It just takes patience. It takes discipline. And it requires you to leave your ego at the door.
So, what's next for me? Honestly, not much.
The empire is built. The systems are running. The ghost economy is fully operational. I'll probably buy another laundromat if the numbers make sense. Or maybe a tiny plot of land for another billboard.
But mostly, I'm just going to exist. Quietly. Comfortably.
I'll keep driving the Honda Pilot until the wheels fall off. I'll keep wearing this same blue jacket. I'll keep clipping coupons just for the sport of it. Because the greatest flex in the modern world isn't showing people how much you have.
It's showing them absolutely nothing. And knowing you hold all the cards. This is the ghost economy. Welcome to the shadows. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a clogged sink to fix in Unit 4. Fade out with ambient neighborhood sounds. Birds chirping, a distant lawnmower.